Hey guys, so I am gonna have this video kind of with me walking around. I hope that's okay. I am getting on, and might be a little hard of a topic, just so you know. So forewarning, it might make you want to tear up, it might make you cry just having to hear what I have gone through, but I honestly hope that it won't, but there's no guarantees. I want to talk about the loss of a parent at a young age, and my background of how I ended up having to handle it, and how I would like to be able to help anybody that has gone through something like this, or if you're at a young age and you're losing someone that is very close to you and you are having a hard time. I want to be able to give you comfort and to be able to help being able to process and to grieve in a good way and not go down a road that I did. So first off, I am actually going to show you where I am. Maybe if it's not going to turn around. Okay, right here, that is my dad. There he is. And as you can see, my dad died in 2003, so I was 11. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, I want to say probably when I was 10. I'm going to guess when I was 10, because I know everything happened very, very quickly. And the cancer took over very fast, and chemo just made everything worse. My dad got very skinny, he got very angry. And then, I remember he called me into his bedroom and he had a talk with me, because I think he knew that he was going to be dying, but I don't even remember the talk because it was so long ago. But yeah, my dad was a great guy. He did his best for the time that we had, and in the end, with the cancer taking over, he ended up losing himself at the same time. He ended up not being the person that we knew. With the anger and everything taking over from the chemo and just from the cancer itself, it took a lot out of him. And so, one memory that I remember was him getting angry. I used to be so mad about it, and then I realized, it really wasn't him. He was sick, and he would have never have meant to be that way. And I don't know if he apologized for what happened, but I want to believe that he did, or at least he thought in his mind that he should, because I know that he never would have meant to be that way. He was just being mean to my mother in front of me. He told me not to leave, and it was hard. It was very hard. And when my dad passed, I used to hold this big resentment with my mother. It still kind of bothers me a little bit, only because I don't understand. But I was the last phone call, and I feel like I hear a bird or something. My whole family, on my mom's side and my dad's side, they all knew that my dad passed away. And then I was at my grandma's, and they called there, and they told me that we had to go for a ride, and they didn't tell me that I had to go home, so I didn't even know what was going on, and it was already dark. And then we get to my house, and there's all these cars there, and I'm like, what is going on? I had no idea. I didn't know that it was coming then. I was 11, so I didn't really understand my dad's sick, he's going to die type deal. I knew that there was something wrong, but I didn't think he was going to die. I thought he would have gotten better. And so my mom ends up being outside, and I walk up to the house, and she told me, and I lost it. I started like screaming, crying. It was really bad. And I vividly remember my mom telling me to be quiet. And we're going in the house, and you're going to go and sit with your grandma, or your nana, which is my dad's mother. You need to take care of her. You need to sit with her. So it's like right then and there, the hours after my father passing, I'm having to be a grown-up. I can't just sit and cry. And so when I went into the house, I don't really remember much. It's a blur. And I think I was just kind of there but not there, and then that ended up being how my life was. I was here but not here. I was in a fog. And I went through a lot after my dad passed, even through high school. I had people make fun of me because I was sad and crying because my dad was gone, and it was only a week of him passing, and I had people making fun of me. Even months after my dad passed, I still had people making comments because I was sad. I was in a depression state, and I could not get out of it. And I hated those people. And all through middle school and high school, I hated them. And I was very quiet. I had my group of friends in high school, but I was still depressed. They just didn't know I was depressed. I could put on such a good show that I looked so happy and that nothing was really bothering me. And I had to do that. I had to do that in school, and I had to do that at home. Even when I got home, I couldn't let it out. I couldn't cry. I couldn't be sad, and I never got to grieve. At a young age, I should have been able to grieve. At any age, you should be able to grieve. But especially when you are 11 and you find out your dad has cancer and then he dies, you should be able to grieve. You should be able to, you don't even know how to grieve, but, you should have that good support system that is going to help you process. And I didn't. I didn't. And I don't want someone to have to go through that feeling. I don't want someone to not know how to grieve. There's really no way to grieve, but there are healthy things that you can do that will help, so you're not just stuck and feel like you're never going to get out of it. I felt stuck and I was never going to get out of it, and I did not get out of this process until my drug use stopped, and that was in 2015. And that's a long time, and this has affected me, in my personal life so much. It's affected relationships with family. It's affected, spouse relationships that I've tried having. Having my dad gone has affected me a lot. And not knowing how to process that so young, because we don't know. Our family and our peers that we look up to, faculty in school, they all need to be there, and they need to continuously be there. They were there, there was faculty in school that definitely, yes, was there for me. They were only there for me for a certain amount of time, though. And then after so long, they stopped asking. They stopped being concerned. They don't, even if they see you passing in the hall and they can just see that you are there but not there, you can see you can tell there are signs, and you can see when someone is depressed and when someone is not themselves and they're not happy. But they continue to just walk by, you know what I mean, and not pull you aside and say, like, is something wrong? What is going on? And honestly, you need that. You need to have people that you know that even if you don't say something, that they will say something to you, so you can start to try to get the grieving process going and get it to be in a healthy way, to where you're not going to get addicted to drugs, and you're not going to be suicidal. You know, there's so many factors into play, and especially at a young age, because our minds are, we barely know anything when we're 11. You know, you don't wake up one day and think, I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with losing my parent. You know what I mean? It's very hard. And I would hate for someone to have to go through it and not have a good support system behind them, to where then, you know, they turn to drugs after so long. And things just get messy, you know. And I want to say all this because I don't want someone to go down the path that I did. Sorry, I'm like super hungry. But yeah, I can't have somebody go through life the way that I did, because it was very unhealthy. It was unhealthy for me. It was unhealthy for people around me, because I affected other people. And I'm sorry, you know, for the people that I did, but, you know, I didn't mean to. I just didn't know how to handle things. You know, I never was told any way to try to help to handle that my father was gone and never coming back again. So I said it's very, very, very hard. And I want to be able to definitely help somebody. I hate that feeling. Like, I'm starting to feel that feeling because I'm talking about it. What I felt all through high school, and then years even after I graduated in 2009, it's just, it hurts. It still hurts. It still hurts me even thinking about it, because I feel for that girl that I was. You know, I feel for her. And I wish I could tell that girl that everything was going to be okay. And, you know, to get a journal and start writing. I was very artistic. So, you know, get into doing painting and let out your emotion in your paintings. Talk to your father, which I used to, and I still do, mind you. I still do talk to my dad, but I wish you know, if I could tell the 11, 12-year-old version of me, I would have said, do not be scared of your dad. And just talk to him and stay having that strength that he has given you. And, you know, to, again, put it into a journal, put things into a painting, talk to, you know, either the guidance counselor or another teacher, somebody that you can trust and that you look highly about, that you feel comfortable with, and let it out. Because if you don't talk about it and you keep it in, it's never going to go away. You know, you could just keep thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And I wish I could have told her to just stop, you know, just cry. And don't think that you are not strong because you're crying. And don't think you're going to get in trouble because you're crying. Just do it. And it's okay, you know, and to find an adult that can hold you and comfort you when you are crying so much because you still miss him. Because you need that. You need that comfort. That's what I would tell myself. And I would continue to tell myself that it is going to be okay. And we are going to get through it. And that it's not the end. I know my father is still here. And even back then, I knew that he was still with me. But I just couldn't accept that he was physically gone. And I would never see him again. And, I held on to that I never got to say goodbye. Like, physically, I did not get to see my father before he passed away. I didn't see him before I went to my grandmother's house that day, because he was sleeping. And being the last one called, he was already gone. Like, I don't know if, I'm guessing my mother figured that wait to call me and tell me what is going on, because she didn't want me to see him that way. She thought that was best for me. But to me, she shouldn't have made that choice for me. She should have called my grandmother first and told them what happened and said to bring me there. So if I wanted to see him to say goodbye, that I could. And not getting to have that, it hurts. It really does. It sucks. But, I've grown to live with it. I've grown to know that, it wasn't anything that I could control. Because he was already gone. He wasn't even at the house anymore. He was probably gone for hours before, I was even told that he passed away. So, there is nothing that I can do. It is out of my control. And that being said, there's a lot of things in life that are out of our control, and we need to be okay with that. Especially at a young age, if your parents are going to think of what's best for you. And if you at the time being, you might think, that's not what's best for me, but I have to do it anyways. And later on, you're going to end up realizing, you just didn't have that. You didn't have control of how that was going to go. They care about you, so they were looking out for you and your feelings, and you just have to forgive them for that. You can't not forgive them for that. Don't hold on to that resentment. I held on to it for a long time with my mother, and I want to honestly say, I'm just now starting to not be so mad about it. The fact that I was called last and I didn't get to see him, and I can't be mad at her for it, and I was for a long time, and it's okay. But I don't want other people to do something like that. I don't want you to hold anger on somebody just because they thought a certain way was going to be better. It happens. People make mistakes. We don't know. My mother had no idea what she was doing, because we're never prepared for something like that. That's why I say, being at a young age, you're never going to be prepared to lose a parent. So if you are, or if you were at a young age and losing a parent, or even a brother or a sister or an uncle or an aunt that you look up to as a parent, there are healthier ways to process. And what I told you that I would do, what I would tell my 11-year-old self, is what you should do. Even try picking up different hobbies. It took me years, but I got into a lot of spiritual work. I got into meditation and yoga and my spiritual self instead, and it has helped my mind be at peace with how my life has been all of these years. It has helped me be able to accept that my dad is gone, and that, you know, it wasn't even his choice. From what I know, my dad's pancreatic and liver cancer just happened. You know, it was just there, and it was very bad, and there was no way to make it stop. You know, chemo tried to help, but it was just slowing down the process back then. That's all it was doing. It was just giving him some time, but it made him miserable, and it made him feel worse. It made him very, very skinny, and he could barely walk. He could barely stand. He had a cane. Like, it hurt. And having to see all of this at a young age, you know, back then I didn't understand. I couldn't process that my dad was sick. Like, I knew he was sick, but I didn't get the full gist of what cancer was and what it was actually doing to him. You know, I still looked at him as my father, and I still loved him, and I still was happy. You know, I wasn't sad, even though he was starting to look like a different person. I did not understand what it was doing to him, and at a young age, you know, we're not supposed to. But if you ever have to go through something like this, to where, like, you're not understanding, you should find someone to try to help you understand what is happening. You know, what is happening to this important person in your life, to try to help you prepare for the worst. So you can, I don't even know the word, but, like, I didn't get a talk. I didn't get, you know, a more in-depth talk of what was really going on. And, you know, then it was just go to school and come home, go to school and come home. And, you know, that was it. You know, like, just stay living your life and not even think of what is going on with him right now. And I wish that it wasn't that way for me, but it was, and it's okay. But I wouldn't want someone else to have to feel like that, to not really understand, and then to not know how to grieve your dad, because you need to be able to know how to grieve the loss of your father, and to be able to do it in a good way, to where you don't turn to a deep depression and start thinking that using drugs is the way to go, or that you want to die and not even be here anymore. You know, even if you're older and something like this happens to you and it just clings onto you, you need to talk about it, and you need to find something that is going to help get you through it, so you don't have those thoughts in your mind anymore. And I know it's hard, but you have to push yourself. And when I finally started pushing myself, I reminded myself that my father would not want to see me this way. He would rather me be happy and me to be strong and me to not feel like that just because he is physically gone. And it helped. You know, even now, even today, I still talk to my father, and I still, you know, ask him for strength when I need it. You know, my father is a guardian angel to me, and he always will be. And that is some things that you need to do. You know, you need to always still talk to a loved one that is gone. You know, don't feel like you can't, and don't not believe in God or whatever your belief is, you know, whether it's God or just a higher power or whatever. when losing a loved one or even losing someone just close to you, we tend to think that there isn't anything out there because how could they do this to us, right? I was so angry. I was so angry. Like, even I didn't even really understand what God was at 11 years old because we're not a church type family or anything like that. So I really didn't know what I believed in at that time. But I blamed God. I was mad, and I didn't understand. I didn't understand why they took him from me. Because what was I going to do? What am I supposed to do now at 11 years old when I don't have a father? I'm going to miss out on so much. I'm not going to have that experience. And I never got it, obviously. Even with a stepfather that I had, I never got experiences that a girl should get with her dad. And that has affected me a lot in my life. And I would just hate for someone to feel what I felt and what I feel still even somewhat today. Because even if that happens and you don't get to have that experience, there is still so many other experiences that you do get to have. And, try to, you could not have a father and maybe you have an elder that feels like a father to you, that you can go to as if he was, your dad. It could even just be a teacher, or it could just be your friend's dad or something. You know what I mean? Like, you can make it work and not feel like you have dad issues. I definitely did, and I probably still do in some sense have a little bit of that issue going on, but I am learning from it, and I will figure out how to rise above it for it not to be an issue anymore. But yeah, I want to be able to help. That's all I want to be able to do. I want to be able to help someone that has gone through such a traumatic experience. Because it is very hard. And it's hard to know what is the right thing to do. Like, what I did for myself after so many years of going through this might work for you and it might not. With going and doing meditation and yoga and finding something that I feel that I could have a belief in and that could help me. You might find just God himself or herself is your way to go, or just like a higher power, just anything. You find something and you let it will start to take over, and it's going to be a good thing, because it's going to give you that good feeling that you have been searching for, that you have been missing, and you stay with it. I also started, eating better, and that changed my life, and it's hard to stay with it, but once your mind is there and you're like, this is it that is going to get me through this process, go deep into it. If it's a good thing, go deep into it. If it's something that is going to ruin your life, don't do that. But seriously, just go all in. I went all in on the meditation and yoga and treating my body in a better way because my body was so hurt and I needed to make it better. And I am so forever thankful that I did. It just one day, it just flipped in a switch in my head and it was like, you need to do this. And so I did, and I didn't stop, and it helped, and I still grieve. I'm not going to say that grief doesn't go away. but my grief is not like it was. It was very, very bad for years. But when I found what I needed, my grief became less and less and less. Like, even say today, because tomorrow is Father's Day, I am not sad about it. Does it suck? Yes. But I'm not sad because I know he's still here and I can go and see him. And I am okay with that. I have accepted that physically he is no longer ever going to be here. And I have accepted to know that I can still feel him. You know, I can feel him when I walk around. You know, I can feel him here in my car. He will always be with me, and that makes me feel lighter. And I don't feel sad like I would have 10 years ago. It's a process. But grief does get easier. And I know, like, it will never go away. I know that no matter what, there's always going to be maybe some days that I am very, very sad about this. And then there's going to be days where it doesn't cross my mind. But that is normal. Like, I don't want you to feel that through your grieving process that it's going to be wrong if you don't even think about it some days. Because it's not. It's normal and it's okay. And they're okay with that. So you have to remember that it's okay. It is okay to forget about it. You know, it's okay to live your life and be happy. And when you get there, you just do it and don't regret it. Don't think that you have to live your life in misery because you lost someone so close to you. You know, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that for many years. All through high school, I was sad and I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't stop missing my father. I felt like I couldn't live, you know, it was very hard. But you don't have to go through it like that. You know, grief is different for everybody. So it might take someone a year. It could take someone 10 years. It could take someone a month, you know, and they could feel okay and accept what happened. We're all different, but we all have the same type of outcome. We all may grieve differently, but we all are going to have the same outcome of we need to be okay and we need to be happy and we need to accept what has happened and be okay with it. We just all go about it in a different way to get there. So I do hope that this helps. I do hope that if you have any questions for me, you will ask, or if you need any advice, you will ask me. And I don't want any of you to feel bad for me. I don't want the I'm so sorry speech, because I don't need that. I am going to be 32. I don't need that. I am telling you all of this so you can understand what it was like at a young age to go through this type of experience and how for me, it affected me for a very long time. It is a traumatic experience as a child to go through something this way. I wanted to tell that story, but I didn't tell it for sympathy. I told it to tell it so I can help anybody else out there that may need it. So please, no I'm sorries, because I don't need an I'm sorry. Okay, well, this is it for now. I can't think of anything else that I really need to say on this topic. So if you do have anything that you want to ask or whatever, please comment and let me know. Like and subscribe. If you share it, I will love you. And thank you for your time.